Hey guys, it's Angelica Marianne on behalf of F.A.T.E Global, the Foundation for Artistic Talent and Empowerment. Today we're going to be going live with People Store agent Laura Crawford. She's actually my agent as well. Hi Laura, she's on time and she's joined us. So I hope you enjoy this. Again, the Foundation for Artistic Talent and Empowerment. We go live with artists, we go live with casting directors, we go live with agents and industry professionals, hoping that their testimony, their experiences will help you and your career. And we're hoping that you'll learn some things from Laura today. Thanks so much for the love, the support. We see Laura here. She's waving. Awesome. So we can go ahead and send her an invite to join our live. I went on and I'm going to plug the Foundation for Artistic Talent and Empowerment below so that you can follow us and see all the things that we're doing. I'll pin that as well for you guys. Awesome. So that if you want to connect with us, you want to find out about casting opportunities, you just want to be mentored, you want to learn different information about the industry, we post everything there. But we'll be going live today on my page and we'll share all of this on all of our platforms so that you can watch this on the replay. We get thousands of people that watch us on the replay. So if you miss it today or you want to share it with a friend, be sure to just, send it over and come to our platform. So we have Laura Crawford. She's an agent with People Store. She's actually my agent and she's awesome. She's going to share her testimony, share some of her advice and expertise with you guys today. So those of you that are looking for an agent, those of you that are trying to break into the industry, this is an awesome live for you. So again, I'm Angelica Marianne on behalf of F.A.T.E Global, the Foundation for Artistic Talent and Empowerment. I dropped Laura's Instagram handle below, so go show her some love. Shout out to Laura. Show her some love. Go blow up her notifications. F.A.T.E Global's notification is there as well, so go ahead and add us there as well as mine if you like me too. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing so good. How are you doing?
Good. I get so excited when I see people.
I know. It's rare these days, right?
I know. How are you holding up during the quarantine?
I'm doing okay. We're taking it day by day. That's really, I think, the best approach that I've been kind of taking at this point is just taking it day by day, making sure that I'm keeping myself healthy, getting out in the sun, going for walks, like catching up with my friends. You need your community right now, so lean into it, even if it's virtual, so, but just doing the best we can.
Yes. Well, I'm so happy to see you. For those of you that are joining in, this is Laura Crawford. She's an amazing, amazing agent. She's actually my agent too. So I'm excited to have her on. Thanks so much, Laura, for joining us. You could have been doing anything. I know you have a workload cut out for you, but you took some time to come on here and mentor our platform. So we really, really appreciate you for that. But we'll just jump right into the interview. The Foundation for Artistic Talent and Empowerment, it's a nonprofit that I started kind of as a way to become everything that I never had, or a lot of people never had joining into the industry. They don't know the do's or the don'ts. They also don't know a lot about the industry, or they may lack access to certain resources or certain people like you. So just bringing people on to mentor them, hoping that we can provide different resources, financial opportunities for them too in this entertainment business, this world that we have. So
That's awesome. I'm all about it.
Of course. Okay, awesome. So let's just jump in. I know a lot of people are wondering how you got started in the entertainment industry. How did that happen for you? Did you always set out to be an agent, or how did that kind of happen for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, well, essentially, I can kind of start off with a little bit of telling my story. So I originally started in the community theater scene. So I used to do acting and things like that when I was a little girl. So I started doing community theater pretty consistently when I was about 9 years old. My first production was A Christmas Carol, and I had the most fun doing that production.
Nice.
And then basically after I did that, I started really focusing on acting more seriously in high school, and I started doing it in college too. And I was a part of a really lovely community theater where I got to learn a lot of skills, where I wasn't just having opportunities to be doing stuff on stage, but I was also having opportunities to direct, and I was having opportunities to learn lighting and learn sound and learn costumes and learn kind of the marketing and the arts administration side, behind the business. And so when I went to college, that was originally what I was setting out to do. Is I thought, you know what, I'm going to work for a regional theater. I'm going to, work in arts administration. I'm going to get my theater degree. I'm going to get my marketing degree. It's going to be like this perfect mash of both. And so when I started as a freshman at UGA, that was entirely where my headspace was at. I had this whole plan. I knew exactly how it was going to go,
Yeah.
I was going to, study theater in college. I was going to have that in my background. I was going to have all the marketing business things I needed. And
Nice.
as I went through my college experience, I ended up really falling in love with their public relations major. So I ended up adding it. And because I really wanted to get more on comfortable with like working with the press and with writing and like learning how to do like a good pitch, that was sort of the appeal of adding that major.
Yeah.
And marketing is very, very business, very accounting focused. And essentially I was basically still on that route, and I ended up doing a study abroad. This is my story. Is I ended up doing a study abroad
Nice.
junior year of my time at EGA, and I did that in London. And the whole
Oh,
point of
yeah.
that study abroad, and
Yeah.
so it was awesome. And the whole point of that study abroad was to do an internship out of the country. It was to study theater, and it was to do an internship, away from home. So when I did that, they originally signed me up for like a PR internship, and I was going to be selling hairspray. And I went, I don't think I want to do this. So I like literally called my internship coordinator. Yeah. And I was like, hey, I don't want to do this for a whole summer. Can you get me out of this? And so, she hit me up and she gave me a call, and I'll never forget it. And she said, hey, I know you don't want to sell hairspray. Understandable. There's a talent agency here in London that needs an intern. Do you want an interview? And I said, yes. Oh my gosh, let's do that.
Yeah.
So my very first experience with a talent agency was with Michelle Braidman and Associates. They're in London. They are like a 15-minute walk from like London or Tower Bridge. So it's a very cool little setting. And they worked with a lot of actors that they would place like on West End or for the Globe or for regional theater or for like the BBC. And so I came on their team for the summer, and just getting to spend time with that really small team, but seeing the relationships that were so empowering that they had with their clients, like the way that they would do client lunches and how they would keep up with their clients in the reg and how they had that really tight bond with them. I loved seeing that. I was like, this is really cool,
Yeah.
So I loved seeing that. And essentially I got back to the US, and I had a friend who also went to UGA, who I knew through the theater program, who was working at People's Store, and said, hey, I heard about your internship.
Wow.
Do you want to maybe come here? We have an assistant job open. Are you interested? And I went like, heck yes. I would love to come in for an interview. That would be awesome.
Wow.
So that was essentially how I sort of started that process, and through a series of events, pivoted to coming on to People's Store as an assistant, and then working up to junior agent, and now I'm full-time agent at People's Store. I've been there for 2.5 years come this December. So
wow, congratulations. That's so awesome. You worked your way up, and I love the fact that you were an actor first, so you really can relate to the whole acting process, because you're basically an actor too. So when actors are coming in doing auditions and things of that sort, or whatever the case might be, or they're sending material into you, you just can connect on a whole deeper level in reference to the process. So I love that about you. So what do you talked about the relationships that that agency had in particular, but what do you enjoy most about being an agent or your job?
There's so many wonderful parts about being an agent, especially with People's Store. I have a really good team of agents that I get to work with. They definitely like hire me every day. So I love, our People's Store team. We've got a great company here. And I really love, man, that's like, I am such a chatty person. I could talk to you about this, but essentially, like in a nutshell,
I got time.
I know you're
I
like,
got time.
We have time. What are we
They
waiting
want
for?
to
We
hear
have
it.
time. Well, oh, I saw Russell just join. Hey, Russell. Okay,
Hey,
anyways.
Russell.
Yeah, well, so one part about the job that I think is really fun, for me is, obviously we love to tell an actor when they're booked, especially like, and because I've called you in this sort of
You
setup where
called me plenty of times.
I've literally been like, hey, I have a crazy project. I need a tape in 24 hours. Can you tape this for me? And then getting to do the follow-up call and say, oh my gosh, you booked it.
That's crazy.
So that's one of the favorite parts for sure is I've got a really good team. I love getting to do the call and getting to say, hey, you booked it. You did it. But I also like at the same time, like I also really like the strategy meetings too that we have with talent. Like I really like when we get to have those opportunities to like sit down with the talent and really dig into like, what are you looking for? What are you after? What do you think you're going to be best for? What are the roles that you're most interested in? What are the sort of opportunities that you want to go out for? Like I really do love having those sort of powwows where we get to sit together and we get to one, check on the actor, see how you're doing, how's your life going, are you learning a new skill, like how's life outside of the business first off, and then once we've got that opportunity to check up, then also just getting to put our heads together and just saying, okay, cool, so what do we want to focus on next? How do we feel like we're best submitting you next? Because with our team, it is all about the communication between like us and the actor. So, for us, like I definitely view it as this is like a partnership, so I'm representing you, I'm advocating for you. So I need to know what you need and I need to know you. So I can bring that to the negotiating table. I can communicate that to the producer. I can communicate that to casting. So, that's something that is really, really important that I found in this side of things, is just to make sure that the communication between me and my talent is top notch, so I can best be working for them.
Yes, that's awesome. I love that. I love that you said that. That's great advice. So then when you talk about kind of what your day-to-day looks like, because I know that you have a large roster of talent. So how do you go by list, or how do you kind of like divvy out your workload for the day to get things accomplished?
That's very fair. That's fair. So a typical day-to-day in the life of Laura Crawford, I'll say.
I'm trying to get to the bottom of it.
Exactly. You're asking the hard questions. We're here for the hard questions. Yeah. Well, I guess as far as like, what my day-to-day looks like as a whole is, I'm going to start off, but when I start working and then when I finish up my day, I'm going to be checking breakdowns. That's like one of the first things for me is I'm checking out the casting networks. I'm checking out the Breakdown Express or the Actors Access. So I'm checking out all the different casting websites that we're a part of to see, okay, what's shooting? What do the rates look like? Where is it shooting? Is there anybody on our roster that I could see this for and think like they're a really good fit? Yeah. And one thing about me personally, which ended up being like helpful in school and now very helpful in this position, is that I'm a detail person. So like I remember like little minute details about people. So especially like, if we've had like a get to know you meeting or, a talent recently called me, then I'm pretty good at being able to bring up like the little things about, my talent. Like, oh, like they have a black belt in karate. That could be useful,
Oh, that type of stuff.
They're really good at the prompter. Yeah. So I think, and for that too, like we're pretty good. We do manage like a large roster, but the good thing about that is that we also have a large team, so with that, between all of us, like in both the commercial department and the film and television department, I like to think that between all of us, you're covered. And the other thing about that too, yeah, absolutely, and you know, we try to make sure that we're bringing regular opportunities to our talent. And the nice thing is when you have that really clear level of communication with the actors, like if they've been getting auditions on the regular, but maybe it's been slow for them for like, you know, a period of time, then they're pretty good at like emailing us and say, hey, I haven't seen anything, you know, like come through, just like keep me top of mind, or, you know, X, Y, or Z, you know. So we're pretty good for the most part about making sure our roster is covered. But whenever an actor like reaches out and it just says, hey, it's been really slow, then we're going to be on like an extra alert for that talent if they bring that to our attention, you know. So
I love that you guys are so attentive, and the communication is awesome. That team just flows so well. So you guys are constantly sending all of us opportunities. So I'm not complaining. But
that's what we try to do.
Can you?
Well, I should answer the rest of your question. Well, I was gonna say, so we do the cast sites thing. I know. So I know I tend to do this. I tend to get into one topic and then I just go and just sideline into
those
that
details.
topic.
It's those details we love it. We love to
right.
see it.
Exactly. We love to see it. But yeah, but essentially, you know, every day for us, it is checking the websites, it is looking for breakdowns, it is, you know, either having those meetings with talent, or having meetings with new talent, or having meetings with like new producers, or new clients or new brands. You know, so we keep really busy. We have a really like busy sort of day to day, you know, when it comes down to it. But normally, like every day I'm submitting talent. Normally I'm hearing back from producers, so I'm sending out appointments, I'm watching self-tapes, I'm watching auditions. Sometimes if I have the time, I'll try to provide a little feedback if I feel like any's needed for anything. You know, keeping a good conversation with our talent, especially if we're looking out for like specific opportunities for them, like on the industrial, the hosting, the influencer sort of side. So it's a pretty busy day.
It sounds like it. It sounds like that's why I was trying to see how Superwoman handles all her tasks, which will be you.
It's coffee. It's literally. I'd love to give you an interesting answer. It's I have 1 cup in the morning and 1 cup in the afternoon, and I'm like, let's go.
Oh yeah, that's good. I like that. I like that. Awesome. Well, that's good to know. So then, because I know a lot of people are probably wondering, you know, what does an agent's job look like? What are they doing behind the scenes? So I'm glad you shared that with us. So thank you so much for that. I know a lot of actors, they try to jump right in and they decide, oh, I need to get an agent, or I want to go to one of the top agents in Atlanta or LA or New York or whatever. But what do you recommend that an actor does? Like, what should they do preparation wise before they actually even submit for an agent?
Okay, yeah, this is a really good question, and we get this a lot. So, you know, the first thing is, for me, well, and it depends too. So I would give different advice depending upon different actors, different categories, you know, things like this. But these are, for the most part, this is a pretty solid guideline to follow. Is, you know, one is you want to make sure that you're training all the time. I would say, like, you have training, and also you're still training. Like, even like when we bring you on the roster, we want you to also like make sure that you're keeping, you know, up to date with your craft, that you're really honing into your craft. And that's so important, I think, you know, for actors to hear, is that that's an ongoing process, right? You know, so like you take an acting class and then you want to continue to be working, or to be taking a class, or to be reading, or to be studying, or to be watching films, or, you know, finding ways that you can be growing as an artist. That process never stops. And I think that's something too that we can really get behind, the actors who are really like investing in that, and being relentless in that area. And I would never too, like, I know that sometimes with actors there can be like financial, you know, restraints or things like that can be tough. Like, as an actor, you have to balance headshots, you have to, you know, edit your reel when you have like new footage to add to your reel, you know, want to be in classes. I know that that's like a lot of things that are worth an investment. You know, but I would say too, like, even if, you know, right now you couldn't, you know, do the headshots and do the classes and do the reels, like, well, what are things that you could be doing? Like, you know, could you be reading? Could you be auditing a class? Could you be a part of like a theater production? You know, could you be looking at reading new scripts, you know, with friends? Like, what are things that you can do to get creative, so that way you're staying sharp and you're getting used to that process of building a character from the ground up, of getting comfortable with the memorization, with the copy, with getting more confident on camera, right? So that's something that I think is important for everybody to know, especially when you're in the process if you don't have an agent yet, is where have you trained? Because that is one of the first things, is when we get that resume come in, my eye is going to trail to the bottom of the resume to see where have you trained, right? You know, because we also want to know, did you go to a school? Did you train? Did you have a really good coach? Did you have a really good class? Has your training been consistent, or did you take one class? You know, so that's really important for us. I would say also, for our agency, we are a referral only agency. So that normally comes, like, if you have a manager, you have a good relationship with a producer or a casting director, that's normally when we're going to get your headshot and we're going to get your resume and you're going to get your reel. You know, but there's, you know, no harm in going to some maybe smaller, more boutique agencies and seeing, you know, will you take a risk, you know, and be brought onto the roster, and then, you know, work on maintaining and investing in your craft, and also seeing what you can work on and book there. And then, you know, you can shift to a different agency that feels like a better fit once you've got a little bit of work under your belt. But the biggest thing is we want to see, how are you training, and you know, are you working, or what are you doing to get to building up like a resume, building up a reel, right? And that's okay too. Like, you know, if you're new to the game, it's okay if right now it's, you know, theater productions, or it's okay if it's student films, or, you know,
right.
that sort of thing. I just want to see, like, you know, how are you on camera? You know, how does the camera respond to you? How do you respond to the camera? What do you look like? Are you natural when you do the work? And then and just really, really being consistent too. I think that's something as well as advice that I would give to actors that are looking for an agent, and also actors that also maybe have an agent that are looking to adjust their representation, or even if they are happy with your agent, is the best advice at the end of the day is to just do the work and be consistent. You know, communicate, make sure your work ethic is on top of it. If you have to be there at 8, then be there at 7:55. Like, you know,
Yeah,
always be on time, always, you know, or always be early, always be on time when you get into a shoot, that kind of thing. You know, make sure that you know, you're good at taking direction, that you can communicate well with others. That's all. And that, you know, you're staying positive, and that you're staying polite too. That's so important too. Because, and that's something when we do work with new actors, and let's say actors that have some clout under them and then switch and come to our agency, you know, that's great to know that, like, this casting director earnestly recommends this actor because they have a really good rapport with this actor, and this actor is always consistent and they always show up and they're never late, and, like, you know, or a manager saying that, or a producer who's saying that, or whoever saying that, you know. So that's really important to know, that, like, just being consistent, being positive, putting in the work, hard work always pays off. Even if it doesn't feel like it right now, like, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It does pay off.
That's great, solid advice. I even like that you touched on the actor that's already signed to the roster, because some actors feel that getting the agent is like the end all be all. Like, I just have to get an agent. I just have to get an agent. And they don't realize that that's when the work continues. You continue the work. So I like that you spoke about that partnership that the actor has with the agent, because some actors miss that partnership aspect. They just expect for the agent to, you know, send them out for things or whatever, but they're not actually putting in their due diligence or work behind closed doors. So can you kind of speak a little bit more about that? Because we spoke a lot about someone that's trying to get signed to an agent, but could you kind of speak to, you said that the actor that's already on the roster, they should be in classes, but what are other things that they should be doing to promote themselves, or to get more visibility, or whatever the case might be, to advance their careers?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So if you're already repped, congratulations. You did a lot of hard work to get there. Great job. You know, it doesn't stop, right? You
Right.
know?
It doesn't stop.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, but this is the fun part, right? Because like the good news, well, and the whole process is the fun part, right? There's different parts of this journey, you know, and you have to really appreciate every single leg of this journey for what it is, you know. Yeah, and you're with acting, I could say this over and over and over again. It is the long game. We are playing the long game when it comes to acting and it comes
Yeah.
to building those careers,
Yeah.
right? And so when you have signed, you've gotten the agent, great. Now you have an agent, you have a team behind you. We believe in you, we support you, we're submitting you. Awesome. But we do need a little bit of work on your end too, right? Because like I said, this is like a partnership. I'm your advocate, I'm your representative. You know, but like it works both ways, right? It's like a two-way street.
Yeah.
You know, so when it comes to that part, there's some things that I can tell you, like, you know, one, like I said, the really important thing is make sure, like I said, you're being consistent and you're putting in the hard work with everything that you book, even if it's like a job that pays like a low day rate, like even if it's like a tiny commercial shoot, you know, even if it's like a half day industrial sort of thing, whatever opportunity we shoot you, make sure that you're being consistent and putting in that hard work no matter what the opportunity is. Because again, we work with so many casting directors and we work with so many producers, and we have really good relationships with them. And with a lot of our clients, you know, sometimes we might put you in like a small position, like a small role for something that may be like one booking opportunity that we send to you. And then later we might hear back from that casting director, that producer, and they were like, this person really blew me away for their tape. Like, I want to see them for this now, and request based on your audition or based on like the work that you did on set that day. Like, this person was really lovely to work with. I really want to work with them again. I get that all of the time. Like, I cannot tell you, I get that all of the time. If
Wow.
I someone for like a small job and the producer comes back and goes, hey, she was lovely. He was awesome. Like, we had the most fun time on set. Thank you so much for sending them our way.
Wow.
Like, if there's an opportunity like this again, we will keep them in mind. I get that all of the time. So even if it's like a small job this time, just know, like, again, we're putting in the work, we're playing the long game of building those relationships. And yeah, and then producers and casting directors will know you for your work and know you as reliable. But our casting directors, you know, the ones that I have the privilege to work with, I love working with. And you know, you can tell that they're really in it to elevate this market and elevate this talent in this market. And they're really good about, you know, they want to see our people. And if they get an audition that they really like, but you're not right for that exact part, they are going to keep you in mind. And they're going to ask you to submit again and ask you to send in another tape and ask you to come in for another audition. And if you are getting that request from a casting director, that's success on your part. That's you doing good work. Because a casting director isn't going to want to see you again if you're not putting in the work, or you were horribly late with no reason, or, you know, like, they don't have time for that. They have too many actors that they want to see. They also are working hard for a client too. So I think that's really, really important to know. You know, and again, keep up a good conversation with your agent. Let us know if like the opportunities that we're sending you, if they got really slow for a period, or let us know if the opportunities don't really feel like the right fit. Like, you're not going to offend us. You don't have to go out for, you know, absolutely everything that we send you and be like, well, if I don't audition for this, my actors or my agent's going to be disappointed in me. Like, no, just tell us. You know, we're trying to adjust to you and the opportunities that you need and you want to have. You know, and I think the other thing is that's really important, that if an agent is telling you, hey, get new headshots, or hey, you're not up on the website and I don't know why, like, you know, or like, you know, I can't upload, like, I can't access your reel, or your reel is 10 years old, or your reel is like 5 years old or something, please help us help you and get those things together. Like I could have an entire Instagram live on just like making sure your casting profile is working and it's up to date and like all the skills are, like filled out properly, and like make sure that if you spent the money and you got those beautiful headshots, you put them on your casting profile. Like just
like having kids.
Yeah, just like those little things. Exactly. Because again, like, we have long past the days of having a headshot and mailing it to a casting director, or however way they used to do it. I think that was the gist back then.
It was the way.
Yeah, I'm in the age of technology, so I don't even know what that used to look like. But your casting profile is your headshot. That I am knocking on the casting director's door saying, hey, you're casting a project. I think you should see this person.
Right.
So just make sure, like, again, like your websites are up to date. We can access them. Like the headshots look like you. The skills are updated. If you went and you got your scuba diving certification and then you learned how to play the flute, tell me, because, like, yeah, especially in my world, I get this like specific breakdowns where people are gonna ask for really random, really specific things. And if I know that you told me that you're like an extreme rock climber and a breakdown comes out for an extreme rock climber, I'm calling you.
Of course. Yes, exactly. Because that's very rare. Yeah. I love that. Man, you gave so much advice, because I was even going to ask you about, is it offensive for some actors? They feel like, oh, I'll just do the audition even though this is not fitting for me. Or they might feel uncomfortable with checking in like, hey, I haven't gotten that many auditions lately. So I'm so glad that you answered that question, because that is stuff that's kind of like actor talk behind the scenes that they have together, that banter like, oh, you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that. So thank you for clarifying that for actors, to let them know they can be transparent, because again, it is a partnership, and that's that healthy communication that you talked about earlier. Yeah. So thank you for that. So can you kind of speak a little bit? You talked about how important relationships are and maintaining those relationships. But in regards to the actor, how does an actor organically build a relationship with their agent? Do they do those get to know me meetings if they're a new talent, or just building healthy relationships on set? What do you have any recommendations for them for that?
Yeah, sure thing. So I think as far as like when it comes to like actor and agent relationships, so you came in, you had your meeting with us, right? Mm-hmm. So now we know
you just clicked.
Do what now?
We just clicked.
Yeah, exactly.
It was one of those things.
Exactly. Like we're good to go. So you came in as an actor, you had your meeting with the talent, or you had your meeting with the agents, and we all went, we love her. She would book. Mm-hmm. She's on the roster, right? So so you've got your foot in the door. Mm-hmm. So after that point, I would say give us a little bit of time to work for you, right? Yeah. So we're going to ask you, hey, so we can make sure that we're doing this properly. Make sure you're up on the websites. Make sure we have your updated reel and your updated headshots. Mm-hmm. Cool. And make sure and let us know, like, where you're training, or if you're a teacher, or what you're doing, so we can stay on top of that, right? Right. So that's happened. That's great. And then give us a little bit of time to sort of start submitting you, seeing how casting responds, seeing what kind of opportunities that we can bring your way. And then after that, and give us feedback on the sort of auditions that we're sending you. Hey, this one was a perfect fit. I'm really excited for this. I love to hear that. I love when actors are like, hey, I'm really excited to audition for this. Now I'm excited to see your tape, Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Or like, thanks for thinking of me, or this sort of thing, or on the flip side, hey, this breakdown didn't quite fit me for whatever reason. I'm not able to travel to that area. I have an issue with the rate. I have an issue. I'm not comfortable with this skill set. Maybe like you want to do, the commercial work, but you don't really want to do the industrial work. Just let us know. And that period where we're first getting you those opportunities, so we can kind of get a feel for you and what you're looking for, right? Because as a team, then I can say, okay, cool, they were really excited about this. They're not really going to be going out for these sort of projects. And now all of us know, right? And then after that, we're going to go and we're going to be working for you, and we're going to be submitting for you. And then I would say, like, let's say, you've been with us for a year, you know, or something like that, and you feel like this is like a good time to check in with like the agent and say, hey, I want to adjust a little bit, or you know, what can I be doing to help on your end with the submission side? That's a great time to check in with your agent and have those sort of strategy meetings to figure
Yeah.
out, cool, like, are you being seen for what you want to be seen? Great. Do we need to adjust our strategy a little bit? How do we need to submit you so we can try to get you the sort of opportunities that you're looking for, right? So everybody's happy, right?
Mm-hmm. I love that. That's awesome. Great, great, great advice. For coming in here saying thank you so much. They love the advice you're sharing. Could you, if you could go back in time, because I know it's a younger version of you that will look at this live and they'll learn something from you. If you can go back in time and tell the younger Laura anything, what advice would you give to her?
To me? Oh my God.
The younger version of you will watch this. Some version of you.
I'm sure, and I'll laugh at myself, and I could have said that so much better, I'm sure.
No, that was perfect. Actually, it was on time. It was perfect. It was genuine.
Well, I think for that, you know, I think the biggest thing that I'm really trying to work on right now is I'm really working on being more comfortable with getting more present, you know, and also getting more comfortable with being more bold. Because something that, you know, I had a meeting with a client last week, and we were just having a really good conversation. We were just checking in with each other. And something that they said that I really loved and I've really been thinking about a lot is like, right now, the answer is no, because you haven't asked, right? So like, right?
I love
And
that.
so then once you ask, you know, now you have two options. The answer could still be no, or the answer could be yes, but at least you were bold enough and you had the confidence in yourself to ask, and now you know. Like, you're not sitting there thinking like, well, I would have never known because I never asked.
Yeah. I love that. I'm going to take that. That even resonated home with me. So thank you for that. That was awesome. So then, you know, you being an agent, like, I know that you faced some form of adversity or just in your life. Can you kind of speak to, because, you know, a lot of people, especially with everything going on in the world, just trying to keep their mental space healthy, like you said, connecting with friends and things of that sort. So can you kind of speak to, like, how you kind of overcome adversity? Maybe it be meditation, spending time in nature, whatever the case might be. Because, you know, as actors, they handle a lot of rejection. They handle a lot of, you know, different opportunities that they thought belonged to them, but they didn't get, or whatever the case might be. And so they have to keep a great mental space. And I know you being in the partnership with them, you know, you may have high hopes for certain things for them, or even with yourself with projects. Can you kind of speak to how you handle those adversities that come towards you in your career?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, because being an actor is tough. You get told no a lot more than you get told yes, unfortunately. You know, and I know that, you know, can be the reality of being a working actor. And I know that sometimes that can be really discouraging to be on the other side of that and to be getting that no, especially when you don't get that why.
Right.
You know? And, you know, I think something that's really important to know is that, you know, sometimes the no, like, has nothing to do with you know, like sometimes
that's great advice.
You know, and that's really true. And so, you know, or sometimes the no came because of like a really small reason, you know, that isn't worth getting hung up on. And so again, like, I just really want to be encouraging, like, put in the work and be consistent. And like, you know, I think one of the best things I've ever heard is like, the best actors are those that really reveal their souls, you know. And I really think, like, you are you. No one is going to be you.
Yes.
You know? And so no one can do what you can do. No one can offer what you can offer. No one can say it the way that you can. And so, you know, I'm not over here looking for you to be like somebody else, like, you know. You know, and sometimes, like, you know, sometimes, especially for some breakdowns, you'll see, like, you know, in the commercial world, like, I want someone to be like Kristen Bell, or I want someone to be like Tom Hanks, you know, or something like that. But, you know, the reason why we say that about those actors is because we know exactly what they're talking about when they say that. Like, I know exactly who Kristen Bell is. I know exactly who Tom Hanks is. I know what he can bring to a role. I know what his roles look like. I know what her roles look like, you know? So I think that's something that is really important for actors to hear is again, you know, like, I don't need you to be somebody else for me. Like, you know, unless the commercial says harness some Kristen Bell energy, then, you know, put on some Kristen Bell energy for the audition, and then, you know, but
let it go.
Yeah, and then let it go. Exactly. Then let it go, you know, but you know, but that's what I'm really looking for is no one has your voice, no one has your experiences, no one has your heart and what you can bring to a role, even if the role doesn't perfectly describe you, you know, like
right, exactly, to the T, right,
exactly, like, you know, that's something as an actor, like, or as an agent, you know, we'll go outside the box when it comes to submission. So submission, they say, hey, like, this gender or this ethnicity and this age range and like this kind of actor, and sometimes we'll say, okay, I know that this is what the breakdown says, but I kind of feel like this would be the best person for the role. Will you see this person? And sometimes it works, you know? Wow. So
yeah, I love that.
You know, and especially like when you have like a good agent that really knows you well and really knows what you can do and can really pitch for you. I mean, that's the dream, right? You know, that's the sort of like relationships that we strive to have with our clients and with our talent, you know? So,
that Laura, yes. She is. She truly is. Awesome, man. That was some great advice. So what do you find like in these auditions? Because sometimes you'll put actors on tape. You even put me on tape before, like, many times. But like, what do you find actors, what are the hiccups that actors find like during the audition process? What do you find most that they just kind of, is it that they get in their heads or they get in their own way, or what is it?
With the audition process? Well, you have to break it down for me a little bit. So the hiccups that we can sometimes see with the audition process? Okay. So, well, I think sometimes with that, the best advice that I can give for the audition process is make sure that make sure that you're, this is going to sound so silly, but make sure that you're off book, you know, make sure that I know that
I understand.
I know that sounds insane. I also know that actors, you know, are often auditioning for a lot of roles at one time. And I know that sometimes you're working 3 jobs to make it work so you can also be a working actor. I get all that and I sympathize with all that. But I will say,
but be off book.
The biggest thing, is like, if you have a paragraph to audition for a project, just know the paragraph, you know, especially like if we have to tape you, especially like if you're in a situation where, you know, like maybe your normal taping person's busy. Maybe the studio where you normally go and get taped is busy. Maybe you gave your agent a call in non-COVID times. He said, hey, can you put me on tape? You know, like, I'm happy to do that for you, but please help me help you. Let me come in. Know the script, be confident on the script so we can do your 2 takes, we can get your slate, and I can say, great, I'm going to go back to pitching you now, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I love the lunches. I love getting to catch up with our talent, but, you know, that's something that's really important that guys, that's the difference between getting a booking and not getting a booking sometimes is how comfortable were you with the copy and the material, especially if you had 2 days or a week to audition, you know, just make sure you're prepared. And that means the lines. And then the other thing I would say is make sure too is that, you know, I would say the Southeast is 90% self-tape. So make sure that you invest in your self-tape setup. I know it's difficult sometimes to do that, but it pays off in the end. I promise. Have a gray wall, have a blue wall behind you, just have a neutral backdrop. Have just a lighting kit you got off of Amazon, you know? You can get cheap ones off of Amazon. They're worth the investment. You know, you have a good self-tape setup. You get one booking, bam, it's paid for, you know, you get more booking. You know, but make sure you have a good self-tape setup. Make sure we can see you really well. So you're camera quality is excellent so we can see you. Because if you're blurry, I'm going to hear from the casting director, I like this actor, but his tape was really blurry, you know? So make sure that the camera is good. Make sure that the space is good. It's not super echoey. The audio is clear.
Yeah.
Make sure that the framing is good to you. If we ask for the close-up, give us the close-up. If we ask for the medium, give us the medium. And the labeling too. But actually, I would say the biggest thing for me, and I'm going to plug my phone in real fast as I continue telling you.
I've done the same thing. That's why I'm sitting here holding it now.
Right, exactly. I'm like giving advice to the people, but gotta stay charged. But
absolutely.
Yeah. But I would say also, like, the biggest thing is hit that taping deadline. Please, please, please. If we gave you a deadline, I promise you we gave you as much time as we could for this project. Yeah. I specifically, like, I try to think about, especially, like, you know, with the commercial world, sometimes you get really, really, really tight turnarounds with your self-tapes. I literally gave you as much time as possible to get this tape to me, let me watch it, and then send it over to casting. So please hit that taping deadline. You know, like, make sure it's labeled. Make sure if you had any, like, issues getting it to me, make sure that you told me in advance. Yeah. Hey, I can get this tape to you. It's just going to be, like, you know, at this time versus this time. Is that okay? So that way I can let the casting director know in advance, because that is way better than saying, I can't find this person's tape, and they're all due and not knowing what's going on, right?
Yeah. Solid advice. Oh my gosh, Laura, you shared so many different gems, so many jewels that I feel like anybody that will watch this will definitely take away some knowledge about the industry. So we really, really appreciate you. If you can leave maybe 3 tips that you leave a fellow actor, that you leave an up-and-coming artist, 3 things that you leave with them, what are, like, that they could be working on, maybe not necessarily during COVID or quarantine, but just 3 things that they should be doing to develop themselves as artists. What would those 3 things be for you?
Okay, yeah. I think for that, I would say, you know, 1, like I said before, make sure that you're always training, right? Training is so important. So get a class, read a book, get a coach, you know, have a group of friends. Yeah. Always make sure that you're training. That is really, 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 really important. I would say make sure that you have a really good community, because when you talked about, like, the sort of adversity that actors face, like, yeah, you know, it's good to hear from your agent, like, hey, you're putting in really good work, but, like, the no's can sometimes feel really heavy sometimes. So make sure that you've got a really, really good community of people that are going to lift you up, you know, and understand what that process is like, and can encourage you, because you know, we have some actors where, you know, we sign them, and lucky for them, we can get a booking for them maybe in 6 months. That's amazing if we get to do that. That is incredible. And anybody who's experienced that before, please know that is not always the case ever. That is not always the case. And that is huge. And we're ecstatic when that happens. Yeah. And then there are some actors that we really, really believe in, and then they'll have a dry spell for a really long period of time. It could be a year, it could be 3 years, it could be a while. And then, you know, what tends to happen, hopefully, is sometimes we see that breakthrough role come in, and they were perfect for that role, and they got that win. And it took a little bit of time to get that win, and they had to invest, and they had to play the long game. But we saw it come through for them. Yes. So that's, I would say, you know, be training, be consistent with your training, have a really, really good community, and don't give up. This is the long game. This is the long game. Don't give up.
I love that. Wow. So don't give up. Have an amazing community, and make sure you're always training. That is some solid advice. I feel that anyone can take that. You shared so many things today, Laura. I mean, you shared what your day-to-day looks like, which is really none of our business, but we got into your business today. So thank you.
I know, you heard all about it.
Yes, so you shared that. You also shared how you overcome adversity, some tips that you give an actor that's facing some adversity. You share so many different things with us, how you started off in musical theater, just your background as an actor, so you can kind of really relate to your clients, and how relationships are so important in the industry, as well as building that relationship with your partnership and that communication with your agent. So, I mean, you share so many things with us. I mean, it's so many things that we could take away from this interview. So we just want to say on behalf of F.A.T.E Global that we really, really appreciate you coming on here, spending your time. You're a queen. You wear your crown extremely well. You give back to the community, and you make a difference in so many different artists' lives, you know, submitting us and things of that sort. I booked so many things with you. I'm so happy to know you, and it's an honor to have got this opportunity to interview you on our platform.
Awesome. Well, this was very fun, very much a treat for me. I love getting to chat with you and say hello again.
Yes.
You know, and just any sort of advice, you know, that I can give, I love to give it, because again, you know, I'm all about, you know, making sure that our talent are the best and elevating this market for what it is and what it has the potential to be. And so I just love getting to have this time with you today.
Awesome. Well, guys, if you enjoyed this, you got so much love too in the comments. People said nice things about you, saying Laura's a gem. We love Laura. So yes, thank you guys so much for showing support to Laura. If you like her, go ahead and follow her on Instagram. I dropped it below, Laura_Ann_. Make sure you guys also follow F.A.T.E Global. Thousands of people watch this on all of our platforms. So we're going to share this on the replay if you missed it. But thank you guys for joining in. Laura, again, thank you, and I hope you have an awesome, awesome night, rather, because the day's over.
Awesome, you too. This was super fun. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and have a great weekend when it starts tomorrow.
Right, we can't wait. All right, see you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.